Two court favorites, John, Lord Berkeley, Baron of Stratton, and Sir George Carteret of Saltrams, who, as governor of the Isle of Jersey, had sheltered the Duke. Sir William Coventry, secretary and advisor to the Duke, is also present for this historic day. Recalling Carteret's stout defense of the Isle of Jersey for King Charles, the Duke also this day decreed that this gift of land should be called New Jersey.
On the night of Thursday, December 14th, 1780, a party of royal horse thieves under the command of celebrated Lewis Robbins made an incursion into the Rahway. The mission was to seize Sheriff Marsh in retaliation for his land confiscations a year prior. With lots of snow and ice covering the roads, movement was very slow. Robbins realized that he wouldn't be able to make it to Westfield and back before dawn. Altering the plan, they went to David Miller's house, capturing him and some of his sons, his horses, but Robbins left the senior Miller during the capture due to his advanced age and infirmities. Sheriff Marsh's kin steadied about a mile or so away. The slow movement along the iced roads, the Loyalist contingent continued turning east from Rahway Meadows towards Tremley Point instead. As we detailed in the Truth About Colonial Linden episode Lady Lindenites, link in the description, the Patriots had a system to alert of incursions from Staten Island. It's most likely that Miller's daughter was versed in the protocol for alerting the next homestead of the British expedition. Robbins and company proceeded to Peter Tremley's, whom they seized and robbed all of his money papers. They also took Peter Horn from a single plot along the way. The operation on the Jersey side had taken probably 2 hours by this point, as the Arthur Kill served as the front line for most of the conflict in the Northern Theater. The Essex militia maintained a constant rotation of sentries, groups of 4 to 10 men who would reside together every night. This protocol began because of the relentless raiding from the Jersey volunteers from their base at Staten Island. The raiding party was finishing its plundering of the Tremley farm. It seems most likely that they intended to continue about a half mile to the point where Peter and his kin also operated a ferry service to Staten Island. This would be the quickest way to securely transport their prisoners and loot back to Staten Island before dawn. Unbeknownst to Robbins and his crew, the alerted militia sentry unit had stealthily crept up on the scoundrels. A sudden discharge shot out from their flank. Robbins, not knowing how large the party was, instantly paroled his prisoners, and the Loyalists reversed course and fled back to their original boats. The Patriot militia did not pursue, but rather secured their neighbors and goods, happy to let the volunteers flee back to Staten Island empty-handed and a bit shook. At sunrise, a detachment of 250 of Captain Ferguson's repeating riflemen from Cornwallis's column clashed with 150 of Morgan's riflemen led by Captain James Dark heading south. The place was called Strawberry Hill on today's Route 35 in Woodbridge. This hill denotes the border between Woodbridge and Perth Amboy. Here's a first use in battle history from the Battle of Shorthills, which we like to call the Battle of the Rahway. British Ferguson guns could be fired up to 6 times in a minute. Despite the superior weaponry and being outnumbered, Dark's patrol held off the entire advance of Cornwallis for about a half an hour before Ferguson and company were supported by Cornwallis's vanguard of 2,000 British regulars. As these infantrymen lined up under fire, stalwart, his stern redcoats began fixing bayonets. Morgan's rifles found themselves engaged in a firefight against the best British marksmen using first repeating rifles in history. Captain Dark ordered the fighting fall back mere moments before the charge of the British vanguard. Strawberry Hill is a daunting charge. Firing and falling back, firing and falling back. Morgan's rifles were able to hold off Ferguson's men, and as Strawberry Hill is a very long rise, the Continentals had a clear advantage in the retreat, able to put distance between themselves and the now exhausted British regulars, whose charge never reached the riflemen. Patriots were able to rendezvous with Brigadier General Conway's 700 Pennsylvania German volunteers, known as Ottendorf's Corps, and contingents of New Jersey militia, who set up a line at Oak Tree Road.